Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games, and today I want to talk about a specific feature that I really hope the Nintendo Switch 2 has, or the next Nintendo console, that I'll be referring to it as the Switch 2 in this video. Now listen, I'm a Nintendo kid, that's not a big surprise. However, I've always loved PlayStation as well. I would say, honestly, from my entire life, even when I was a kid up to now, I have about a 50-50 split of where I divide my time and attention to, 50% being to Nintendo, 50% being to PlayStation, and my entire life, I've always thought that Nintendo's biggest downside versus PlayStation isn't their performance and all that. It's not their online infrastructure, it's not the lack of parties and all these things. It's the lack of trophies. So yes, that is what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the next Nintendo console, the Nintendo Switch 2, having trophies. Now, let me get this out of the way right now. I think it's very unlikely based on how Nintendo has treated that kind of stuff in the past decade, because it's weird. Nintendo, they understand trophies. They understand having achievements in games. Most first-party Nintendo games have some sort of list. I specifically think of like Fire Emblem and Xenoblade. Those games have huge in-game lists of challenges you do, and you get little rewards for doing them. But what I'm talking about is a system-wide account-based trophy system or achievement system that just tracks everything, and then you can go look at it, and it feels so rewarding. I don't know how to explain it. I know there's a lot of people that actually don't like trophies that much. I've seen some people say, like, I don't want Nintendo to have trophies. I can't understand that logic. I mean, if you really don't like them, maybe just have an option to, like, hide them or something. But for me, having trophies in a game simply adds more value to that game. And I know I probably shouldn't need a motivator to play games as deeply as trophies implore me to do, but when I go for a platinum in a PlayStation game, for example, a platinum trophy, which is when you get every trophy for that game, I become much more intimate with that experience than I would have otherwise. Now, yes, maybe I shouldn't be forcing myself, if that makes sense, to play a game, but it's so satisfying, it's so rewarding seeing that platinum trophy, seeing the 100% next to the game's name, and I really want that for Nintendo games. Even if it's not first-party Nintendo games, which, I mean, that would blow my world open. But even if third parties have the option to have trophies on an account-based level, I recently played Vampire Survivors on Switch, and there's achievements in the game, but I was just thinking the entire time, man, I wish I was playing this on PlayStation so I can get a platinum trophy. For me, trophies just add this extra amount of replay value and incentive to really, like I said, get intimate with the game, really get in there, sink your teeth into it, and see everything the game has to offer. Now, I mean, there's examples of bad trophy lists and good trophy lists. I don't like trophy lists that require New Game Plus playthroughs. I really don't like that. But I love 100%ing games, and I know this is just like a mental hurdle that I have to get over. Without trophies, I struggle to really want to do that on Nintendo platforms. There's something about having a showcase on your profile of your platinums or your 100% completion games, and just being able to look at that list that's really rewarding and really just makes me want to go for everything, that I don't feel that on Nintendo, because 5 years after I 100%, let's say Astral Chain, for example, or something, I'm not going to really be thinking about that. But on PlayStation, when I go to my profile and I just scroll down, I can see every trophy I've ever earned and just kind of like reminisce. It's like a walk down memory lane. I've been platinuming games my entire life. I remember back even like on PS3, I think I did Sound Shapes, which is like this really cute indie game from Sony Santa Monica, where you're just a little sound ball and just a music-based game, and that was my first platinum. And even more recently, I mean, I still go for platinums. Just this year, I played a game that I would not have ever played anywhere near this much if it weren't for trophies, and that is, funnily enough, Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker. This is a PvP online-only game that I liked when it came out in 2018, but I never really got that into. But every once in a while, I would, check in on it, load it up, see what's going on. And eventually, it got to the point where I was almost done all of the trophies, except for a couple. There was a trophy for doing all of the, like, kind of co-op missions in the game. And then there was a trophy for doing 1,000 matches. That 1,000 match grind, while kind of ludicrous, and certainly, I think for most people, would be considered a waste of time, doing that 1,000 match grind, passing the controller off to my girlfriend as we played it for weeks on end, was so satisfying. But it made me play and appreciate Shinobi Striker way deeper than I would have had it not had a trophy system in it. I just don't understand why Nintendo's so reluctant to add this when they already have kind of achievements in a lot of their games. Like I said, Fire Emblem and Xenoblade already have a lot of that stuff in those games, and I know there's other examples. Even something like Pikmin 4 has a list of challenges you do, and you could very easily adapt other Nintendo games to have it. I think Nintendo makes some of the most completable games, if that makes sense. Like, their games are begging to be completed. They always have collectibles and hidden secrets and little other things to find, and it's just so satisfying to complete. But tying that game design with trophies, I'm going to be honest, this would completely change the way I consume Nintendo games. I would play them at a much more granular level. I would play Tears of the Kingdom to 100% completion, get all the trophies, do everything that I could. But without trophies, without that extra incentive, I don't do it. And I like I said, I know that's like a mental hurdle block, and I hope you understand what I'm saying. If you don't like collecting trophies, if you don't play on PlayStation or Xbox, I guess this might just sound like, we'll just play the game anyway. It doesn't really matter. But for me, it comes back to having it on your account. It comes back to seeing that list and just kind of walking down memory lane. That incentivizes me so much to play these games more than I would have otherwise. And going back to the fact that most Nintendo games already have some sort of challenge list in them, My Nintendo also is weird because they kind of have achievements with that where you get the platinum coins and then you can buy little icons. So Nintendo understands it. I think they understand trophies and achievements, but I think what's happening is they feel the need to have that Nintendo spin on it, I guess, where they don't want to just copy PlayStation, Internet, Xbox, and Steam. They just want to do their own thing, which I guess is kind of what we've gotten with My Nintendo. But I can speak for this as well. If there's a third-party game on Nintendo and PlayStation, you know, performance is nice and all. I would like to have better performance, so I kind of would buy it on PlayStation anyway, I guess. But trophies are my biggest selling point. Going back to Vampire Survivors, like I mentioned, which I just played like 20 or 30 hours of in August, the entire time I was playing it, I was just thinking, dang, I wish this was on PlayStation. I wish I could go for the Platinum Trophy in this. And had it been released on PlayStation, I certainly would have been playing it there instead of Switch. That game's great for Switch because of handheld mode, but I would have sacrificed handheld mode just for trophies. That's how much it matters to me. Or even other things like the Crash Insane trilogy or Spyro Reignited trilogy or Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. These are games that would be fine on Switch. I'm sure they run a little bit worse, but I'm sure they're you know, respectable ports on the Nintendo Switch. I would buy them on PlayStation instead, and I did. You know, so I think for Nintendo, while adding trophies might not be an immediate like, oh, we're seeing sales increases and all these things, it builds community, it builds a relationship with your account. And at least for me, in terms of PlayStation, I think it incentivizes people to keep playing on that one platform. If Nintendo added trophies to first-party games and mandated third parties do it, although I guess you could have it be optional, but my preference would be mandated, right? So every game has trophies. If Nintendo did that, I promise you, outside of stuff that I literally just don't have the option to play on Switch, I would play everything on Switch. Even stuff that I know objectively probably is worse on Switch, because I've been a Nintendo fan my whole life, and yes, I kind of have that 50-50 split, like I said, with Nintendo and PlayStation. I am not opposed to dropping PlayStation for the most part, outside of, like, exclusives. I would unironically probably play a game like Mortal Kombat 1 on Switch if the Switch version had trophies. So that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you want to see Nintendo add a trophy or achievement system to the Nintendo Switch 2? Or do you think they are better off without it? And if so, let me know your reasoning for that in the comments down below. I would love to get a discussion going because I've seen that sentiment. I've seen people say, oh, I don't like trophies, they're intrusive, I don't like the pop-ups. Just have an option to hide it. I'm pretty sure PlayStation does actually have an option to hide the pop-ups, so I feel like that's kind of a moot point. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and if you are for trophies, let me know why as well. Of course, until next time, folks, this has been BoTalksGames. Subscribe here for more Nintendo coverage. Follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames, and until next time, peace.